So, does it record my voice? It records just like I do the regular videos. Okay. Except I don't have good audio. I forgot to bring my little microphone thing. So I've drawn a line right here, and you're gonna have. Oops, what's that? Okay, there we go. I just want to let's name this line L, and there are. Oh, what do I do up here? Let's do that. Okay, I'll name this line L, and let's put a couple points on here. Just make up letters A, B, and C. All right, and there's. So I could name it. What are the different possibilities of naming this line? I could name it line what? L, line L, right? Now, if I call it line L, everybody watch. If I call it line L, I need to have the word in front of it, and then you have the lowercase letter next to it, okay? Now, the other ways you could name this, you're not going to use that word line, okay? Trey, give me another name for this.
Line AC.
Okay, you could call it line AC. Now, how do I just put AC like this?
No.
I put a little line symbol. Right. Now, if you don't put that, I'm going to mark it wrong, because the whole idea of asking you this question is so that I can see that you know how to label this stuff, right? So if you just put an AC and you don't put the line over top of it, it's going to be wrong. If you put AC and just that over top of it, I'm going to mark it wrong, because that's not a line. What is that? That's a line segment. What if you put that? What is that? That's a ray. What's a line? It's got to have two arrows, all right? So I will mark it wrong if you don't have it exactly like that. Is that the only way that I can name this other line? I could name it line CA, right? I could always go backwards on the letters. What else? Yep, I could name it BA or AB. What else? BC or CB. All right, I think that covers everything. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say name another. What's it say? What's another name for line L? And I'll give you something like this. It might be different letters and stuff like that, but that's what you got to be able to do. All right. What if I had another line? Let's make this one blue, and let's say it went like this. All right, and let's call this line M. What if I said, what is the intersection of lines L and M? Point B, that's right. Right there. That's the intersection. That's where they cross each other. Don't just say they cross each other at a point. You have to specifically tell me which point do they intersect. Okay, they intersect at point what? B. Now, I would have let you, if you just put a B and nothing else, that's fine, because capital letter sitting there by itself means a point, okay? But I don't know, it just seems kind of lonely, right there. So I put point so I know exactly what that is, all right? I also give you a ruler type problem. I happen to have a ruler right here, okay? Just happen to. Actually, that's in centimeters. Let's get one that's in inches. All right, here's my ruler. Now let's draw a line segment. I'll just draw I'll say a line segment from there to there. Okay. I'm going to find the measure of that line segment, find out how long it is. Let's do this in inches, okay? So I'm going to take this ruler and I'm going to move it so that, does that look about right at the end, about right there? Okay, that's good. And so where does it go? It goes right here. So I need to find that mark right there. Well, there's 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch. So it's going to be 3 and what? Well, let's see how it's broken down. Watch. This one in the middle right here is how much? That's a half, okay? Then the next smaller one, which would be this one, what would that be? That would be, well, this is half. This would be a quarter, right? Because I've got 4 quarters, okay? So that'd be a quarter. So what's the smallest one then? That would be an eighth. Let's find out how many eighths this would be. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, what? 5 eighths. So that would be 3 and 5 eighths. Make sense? So you find out which one that is. It's an eighth. And then you count over to see how many it is. Or you could have done this. Half is the same as 4 eighths, isn't it? What's one more eighth than 4 eighths? 5 eighths. So it makes sense. Would you agree? Okay. Oops. Should have done that. Okay. Let's move on. Let's look at another one. Okay, here's one. Now, I'm not giving you the exact question, so I'm just making this up off the top of my head, and so it may not come out real nice and perfect. But we'll try. We'll give it a shot. We'll call this A, B, and C. I hope you guys over there in the back are listening. So, I don't know, let's say that's that, and let's say this is that. I think that will come out. Okay, you watching? And I want you to solve for x. Just find the value of x. Now, when you guys first were doing this problem, a lot of you guys just set these equal to each other. Oh, I need to show you one more thing. Sorry. Yeah, I need to show you the whole length. I was like, wait a minute. You can't solve for that. So watch. They tell you that whole thing right there, or they might tell you this. They might say AC. What does it mean when it says AC with no line segment over top of it? It means the length of AC, all right? It means how long AC is. So if they say AC is, I don't know. Yeah, we'll do that. Let's say AC is 25. No, let's not. I'm trying to make this come out right. Let's say it's 28. Let's see if that works. All right, let's say it's 28. That should work. All right, so if they said AC is 28 and they said solve for x, what would you do? Would you set 5x minus 2 equal to 13? Are they equal to each other? No, you don't know they're equal to each other. Nothing in here says. But watch this. You could do this a couple ways. I'm trying to think of an easier way. Look at AB. That's got the x in it, doesn't it? The whole thing is 28, and this is 13. What do you think it is from A to B? Forget the x. Forget the x right now. If the whole thing was 28, and this is 13, how do you find AB? Well, the other way around. 13 from 28, right? 28 minus 13 is what? 15. What does that mean? It means AB is 15. You guys watching? Lucas, you watching? Okay, I'm here, not up there. So look at this. Does that make any sense? You can do this a couple ways. I think that's the easiest way to do it. So this is 13. The whole thing is 28. And that means AB has got to be 15. Agreed? That's not my answer. That's not what x is. So what do I do with this? That's right. This is equal to 15, isn't it? This is AB. I just said AB was 15, so I could go 5x minus 2 equals 15. And as hard as I tried to get this to come out even, it didn't, but that's okay. What do we do? Add a 2 to both sides. What is that? 5x equals 17. Divide by 5. So you could just keep it 17 over 5. X would be 17 over 5. Didn't come out pretty, but that's okay. Math doesn't come out pretty most of the time anyway. Just in math classes, it usually comes out nice and pretty. But in real life, it usually comes out real ugly looking. All right, enough of that. Let's do another one. What if I asked you to find the midpoint? Do you remember midpoint?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So
AC. Didn't want to find AC, just wanted to find x. Just wanted to solve for x. That's what x is right there, because I divided both sides by 5, so x is 17 over 5. All right? Now, do you remember midpoint formula? Again, I'm just going to pick some numbers. All right, so I want to find the midpoint between these two numbers right here. These 2 points, I should say, not 2 numbers. The midpoint, you can look up what the actual formula is, but you add up the x's and you divide by 2. You add up the y's and divide by 2. You add them together. Okay, remember the whole thing about the McDonald's. If you want to meet in the middle, what do? You take the 2 markers, right, the mile markers, you add them up, you divide by 2, and it puts you in the middle. So let's add up the x's. Which ones are, this is x, and that's y, and this is x, and that's y. So this means you add up negative 4n, 5. You add up the x's and you divide by 2. And then, to do the y's, you add the y's together. It doesn't matter what order you add them up, but you have to add the y's up. Don't add negative 1 and 3. That's an x and a y. You add the x's together to get this. You add the y's together to get this. You simplify it. You always simplify it. I will not accept this as an answer right here. You must simplify it as far as it can possibly go. Negative 1 plus 5 is 4 over 2. 3 plus 7 is 10 over 2. It's still not simplified. 4 over 2 is 2. 10 over 5, or 10 over 2 is 5. That is the only answer that I will accept if I had a problem like this. Got it? Okay, you can review it if I went a little too fast, because I did record it, and I'll put it on YouTube tonight for you. What about the one where they give you the midpoint and an endpoint? You got to find the other endpoint. Okay, so let's do this. Just make up some numbers here, and then E is 1. And they ask you to find the other endpoint, and they ask you to solve for D. So this is the midpoint. E is the midpoint. This is one endpoint. This is the other endpoint. Don't know it, so I'll call it XY. Everybody with me so far? So now, do you remember the little thing that we do to find the X part? You take the midpoint and do what to it? Let me make sure E is a midpoint. Right, you multiply it by 2. What's 0 times 2? 0. And then you add the other X part to it. So if you add a -3, you get what? So it's 0 times 2, right? And then you add a -3. 0 times 2 is 0, plus -3 is -3. So X is -3. You do the same thing with the Y, but this time, well, it's the same thing, -3. It's the same thing. No, you have to keep the sign. Yeah, you have to, absolutely, you have to keep the sign. Or wait a minute, hold on. You subtract. Oh my goodness, I almost screwed up. Watch. You don't add, because you do the opposite of the midpoint. The midpoint you add, right? But to do this, you do the opposite. So you do what? You subtract this one from it. Minus -3 is +3, so X is +3. Glad you said something, because I messed that up. So watch, here we go. Let's do the Y. You take the midpoint, okay? It definitely matters which one's the midpoint. You take the midpoint, which is 1, you multiply it by 2, and then you do what to it? Subtract, right? That's where I made a mistake originally, but now you subtract a 4. So 1 times 2 is 2, minus 4. What's 2 minus 4? It's -2. So this point right here is 3, -2. That's point D, and that's one of your endpoints. This is your midpoint. C and D are your 2 endpoints. All right, so you'll have one like that on there. We've done that plenty. You'll have a situation that looks something like this. Like this. Like this. And then watch this. Let's make this another color. Let's talk about this briefly. That blue line right there, it bisects this yellow angle. Everybody see that? It's a ray, actually. This bisects this. So what's true about this angle and this angle right here? Now, that doesn't mean it's 45 degrees, because I don't know that this is 90 degrees. They're the same, right? This angle right here is equal to this angle right there. Now, I could give you some stuff. Again, I'm making this up. I don't know if these numbers will come out pretty or not, but let's say that's 3x plus 2. And let's say this is 2x minus 1. Okay, I'll just make this up. Everybody with me on that? So if I said that this blue line bisected this angle, what could I do to the 3x plus 2 and the 2x minus 1? If it bisects it. Come on. She just said it. She just said it. What's true about those 2 angles? And I marked it. What's true about this angle and this angle? They're the same. So we set them equal to each other, right? Got all these blank stares when I looked at you, and I thought we already established that the angles were equal. They are equal, right? If it bisects, only if they say it bisects, then these 2 angles are equal. So what do? I take this angle and set it equal to this angle. And then I can solve for x. Subtract 2x from both sides. Subtract a 2 from both sides. I don't think this is going to work out. The math didn't come out right because I'm just making them up off the top of my head. So that's not going to be -3 because you can't have a negative degree. I messed up, but the work is correct. Okay, setting this angle equal to this angle is the correct way of doing things. All right, I just messed up because I didn't use correct values, for this. I just was making up spur of the moment. But you do take this and set it equal to this, and you solve for x. Okay. But you won't come out with a negative. All right, not in this case, because look, 2 times -3 is -6 minus 1 is -7. There's no way that this angle is -7 degrees, okay? So it can't be a negative degree. Actually, later on in geometry, we will have negative angles, all right, but not today. All right? Oh, distance formula real quick. Let's find the distance. Do you remember? I'll just write for you down. Distance, do you remember this?
Yep.
You should have done a bunch of these yesterday on that or that last homework assignment. You need to know this. Okay, x1 minus x2, and whoops, y, that's a y1 minus y2. Okay, be ready for the quiz tomorrow. That's all we're going to do.